Welcome back. We're going to carry on with round 5 of the NATCON War Machine Hordes tournament. This time I'm up against Skorne, and the problem I'm facing now is that it's a divide and conquer format. I've played 1 game with pSeverius and 3 games with the Harbinger, so if I use Harbinger again I won't have her available for the final. Having said that, I've also actually played games against the 3 other top seeds of this particular tournament that I expect to have a chance for the finals, and I've beaten those guys, so there's no way that I can actually face them again over the next 2 rounds, so even if I draw a bad matchup for pSeverius, I might be able to get away with playing him. Now in this case, my opponent is Dan with a Skorne. He's got Xerxes and Epic Xerxes, which I think is really cool. Now if I took the Harbinger, I think that my chances of winning this game would be very, very high, because she does very, very well against Skorne, and those casters no exception. But if I can get away with winning with pSeverius, or even if I lose with pSeverius, I could even use her in the game after that if I really want to get to the final, and then just use pSeverius in the final. But chances are, if I can take pSeverius through this game and the next game, that I'll have both casters available for the final if you guys follow that. Anyway, the scenario is Gauntlet, and the layout is thuswise. Next image, Dan's army is very well painted. He's got the new Archidon, which is quite cool. He's got a Bronzeback and some Cetratii, Arcuarii, Feralgeist, Xerxes, Paingivers, and Aptimus Marketh, so they're looking really cool. Next image, Dan has taken the first turn here, so he's moving straight towards the centre. Now, my game plan is really going to be based around this little obstruction in the centre of the field, which no doubt is going to really annoy the Skorne armies. Just forcing him to split his forces or come around one side of it, just slowing him down a bit, giving me enough time to blast away at him with the Reckoner and Vanquisher and Vassals with Eye of Menoth buffs should really make the difference, taking out most of his army before he can get to me, and then hopefully grinding him down in close combat. But if he does get a really good feat turn off aggressively, then that's going to be a lot of trouble. Next photo, here's my move. I'm actually running around with the Errants of the Forest, making sure I'm out of threat range of any of his forces here, and just making sure I've got all of the upkeeps up. Now, what I'll be able to do is just tag the corner of my zone with one of the jacks to prevent him from getting a scenario win, and just making him come to me. So it's going to take him at least another couple of turns to get into combat, and during that time, hopefully I will have either set up a good countercharge or withered away at him with my guns, and that's actually not looking too bad given the scenario, the situation rather. So next image, Dan does respond here. He's moving around a little bit. In fact, I don't think he's actually had his turn yet. This is just another photo of my layout here. You can see on the left that he's got the Arcuarii, and those guys are really good at dragging medium-sized spaces, but he won't be able to get the Vanquisher, which is why I've moved the Vanquisher up. And the Blessing I have moved back so that he can't really get to it as easily. I think in this situation he could probably put battle plan for +2 movement on the Arcuarii, move them forward, and then shoot the Blessing and drag him over. But I've got vision on him, and if he does that, he'll well and truly have moved the Arcuarii into threat range of my jacks. So hopefully I should be able to retaliate in that manner. So next photo, my Vanquisher has done a lot of damage on his Bronzeback Titan, but my opponent crucially has forgotten to use hyper-aggressive, and had he done that, he would have been able to charge the Bronzeback into the Vanquisher in the following turn and wreck it, making life very difficult for me. But on the other hand, the shooting that I've been able to do, this turn has enabled me to kill a couple of the Arcuarii and damage the Cetratii, and Xerxes has chosen defeat defensively, which is a good sign, meaning that I'm not going to have to cop the aggressive side of his feat when we get into close combat eventually. So next photo, here's the retaliatory situation after the Skorne turn. I've moved in with my Vanquisher and fired a shot at his Bronzeback, fired again using the Vassal, then the Reckoner fired at him, and again with the Vassal, and the Feralgeist jumped in. So pSeverius fired a boosted immolation through the Blessing, so with Eye of Menoth that's a power 15, wiping him out. So that's the big heavy beast down. On the right hand side I've actually moved in with 2 of my Errants just to prevent him from charging with the Cetratii, just feeling like I want to sacrifice those 2 guys before I eventually get into combat. That should just delay him a while, and then in the following turn I can actually fire my jacks at his Cetratii as well before sending the next wave of Errants in, so that should solve the Skorne problem. Next photo, Skorne now moving in with the battle plans. He's got 1 Cetratii and 2 Arcuarii against the Vanquisher, and a wall of 4 Cetratii against my Errants in the back there. Both of us have Defender's Ward up, and neither of us have any upkeep removal, so very difficult to hit each other at Defense 14. And my opponent, a little bit unlucky with his dice rolls, not really getting any of the Errants, except for I think one of them. The Vanquisher taking some damage, but I've luckily got a Vassal mechanic behind to repair him, and didn't actually lose the whole jack there, so we'll get an opportunity to do that. Next photo, just a bit of a zoom out here. He's even moved around with his Paingivers. Archidon still hanging back. It doesn't have a gun. He hasn't actually charged it in yet. So if you go to the next photo after that, my Errants doing a counter charge. Yeah, well, not a counter charge as the rules go, but I'm charging him in my turn and moving up with the guys that can't charge and doing as much damage as possible. Defender's Ward quite difficult to hit, but with Mat 7, occasionally rolling a couple 7s here and doing some damage to them. So it looks like I'm going to be able to win this little fight on the flank, and the Cetratii were always going to be the most difficult part of his army to remove, and it looks like we're going to be able to do that. Next photo, the Archidon moving in, and my opponent was umming and ahhing here about whether he ought to use Lightning Strike before it destroys the Vanquisher. He's actually put his Paingiver Lash on him as well for the extra strength and the free charge, and he decided to opt for it, but didn't roll high enough to actually box the Vanquisher here, so that meant that the Archidon could not Lightning Strike back. I think the correct move here, or the safest move, would have just been to attack him, leave the Archidon there, and actually wreck the Vanquisher. Would have given him a better chance of succeeding in this particular zone here. So next photo, just a bit of a follow-up. Xerxes has moved over, killed a couple of the Errants here with his big Pillars of Halak, and will be lightning striking back. And it's quite cool how he can use the Animus from the Archidon and his speed boost from the battle plan, and then zip back 7 inches with the lightning strike. Next photo, pSeverius, after orchestrating, almost a flawless dismantling of the Skorne army, decided to retreat to one corner of the battlefield for a bit of a breather, and my opponent came around here to tell me that I'd probably come in range of the kill box by mistake, and after we measured the 10 inches, I kid you not, I was half an inch away from losing the game just because of forgetting about the kill box. So really red-faced about this one, a huge embarrassment, and had I actually lost, that would have been even worse. But luckily, I wasn't too bad with pSeverius, and I didn't sort of move him right to the edge of the field and didn't end up losing, so that was very, very lucky. So next photo, just a cleaning up mission at this stage. The Vanquisher starting to get back to full health thanks to the tireless work of the Vassal mechanic. The Errants have wiped out the rest of the Cetratii, and the Jacks are looking good. So really all I've lost this game are 4 Errants, and I've destroyed every single model he has except for a Feralgeist and Xerxes. So they're going to be next. And Xerxes, if you look at the next photo, moving into, go down swinging against the Errants, but I follow up with a choir-boosted Repenter and Reckoner, and they both are able to crush Xerxes here. So that's the end of the game. Managed to pick up maximum points and control points in this one, so really happy to have got through this without having to use the Harbinger. Would have been easy with Harbinger, but as we saw, it was a fairly comfortable win with pSeverius. That'll hopefully mean I can use pSeverius again in the next game and save Harbinger for the final. See you guys there.